Hello all my beautiful little unicorns and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you're on my channel, my name is Vanessa and I and I would like to welcome you into the fam. So guys, today's pick a card reading is meant to be really fun, uplifting, as well as entertaining. Today I'm going to be allowing you to pick twice in order to figure out who you are going to end up marrying. And I would like to emphasize again that this reading is meant to be fun and entertaining. So without a doubt, today's video is definitely going to be filled with some tea. So before we get into it, let me explain to you exactly how this video works and how you can pick twice in order to receive a highly personalized reading. So during the first round, you're going to pick one of these 4 decks, and the timestamps for all 4 decks can be found down below in the description box, as well as pinned to the top of the comment section. So once you have picked one of these 4 groups and you have received and listened to the first part of your reading, you can scroll back down into the description box and click the timestamp that says part 2. And for part 2, I have more timestamps prepared, as well as another round of groups that you can choose from. But part 2 is going to be all crystals. So during round 1, you get to pick one of these 4 decks, and for round 2, you get to pick a crystal of your choice. So that way there is a plethora of different combinations that you can choose in order to receive your reading, making it so much more personal, almost like I'm right there with you conducting this reading for you. So grab your beverage of choice, grab a snack, and we'll get right into it. So for your first round of readings, I have prepared the following decks for you to choose from. Deck number 1 corresponds to the Pink Pain Tarot deck. Group number 2 corresponds to the Tea Leaf Fortune cards. Group number 3 corresponds to the Divine Feather Messenger Oracle deck. And group number 4 corresponds to the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. All the names of the decks as well as the timestamps can be found down below, so make good use of that description box as well as my pin in the comment section. So I will just give you a little bit of alone time with the 4 groups so you can meditate on them. So by now you've hopefully made up your mind and you've chosen a group to go with for round 1. Of course, if you feel drawn to multiple groups and you just cannot make up your mind, feel free to tune into multiple readings, because sometimes your personal reading truly is a mixture of multiple groups. And there are no rules in tarot as well as oracle readings, so feel free to use this video in whichever way resonates with you. So I will be getting into the reading starting off with the Pink Pain Tarot deck, and to all of my other lovely groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello group number 1 and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Pink Pain Tarot deck, group number 1. Let's allow for this deck to guide us to figure out exactly who you're going to end up marrying. So first and foremost, we have the Knight of Cigarettes. Now group number 1, in the Knight of Cigarettes, we have the Knight of Fire signs. Think Leo, Sagittarius, but also Aries. The Knight of Cigarettes is someone who is young and fun, but not immature. They're in a place in their life where they're figuring things out. Nevertheless, they are driven and ambitious to get exactly what it is that they want. They're very confident, sometimes a little cocky, but it's kind of attractive. You know, when someone is very confident in themselves and their abilities, that is what I see here in the Knight of Cigarettes. Overall, the Knight of Cigarettes is definitely someone who is a passionate lover. This is the type of person who will try to woo you whenever they can. Next up, we have the 10 of Bottles. So in the 10 of Bottles, I can see here that you're going to have a lot of happiness as well as this feeling of completion when you are around the Knight of Cigarettes, the person who you're going to end up marrying, which is of course really great for you, group number 1, because being happy and satisfied is not something that goes without say once you're married. You know, being married is hard work. It's definitely something that a lot of people underestimate. So I can see here in conjunction to the Knight of Cigarettes that your marriage is going to be a happy one, which is a detail that I feel a lot of people leave out. Just because you're married doesn't mean that you're happy, but in your case, it is true, group number 1. Next up, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Group number 1, in the Wheel of Fortune, I can see here that you're going to end up marrying someone with whom you're going to have a lot of ups and downs. So the relationship is going to be bumpy and challenging, not necessarily because of your relationship with them, but more because of outside influences. So think going through job changes together, moving to a different place or a different country, just overall having those life challenges that you're going through with one another. But I do see here in conjunction to the 10 of bottles that you're going to feel really content and like you really hit the jackpot, like you're going through these things with your best friend, soulmate, and twin flame at the same time. Next up, we have the Two of Knives. So in the Two of Knives, I do see a little bit of a discrepancy or disparity between you and the Knight of Cigarettes, the person who you're meant to be with, because you just have different worldviews. You have different ideas for how you want to move forward and what is the most important thing to you in life. So that is where you may have a little bit of friction. That is where you may argue from time to time with your future partner, with your future husband or wife. But you know, everybody has their areas of struggle and difficulty in their relationship. So don't see this as a negative, group number 1. Your reading so far is overwhelmingly positive for who you're going to end up marrying. Next up, we have the Eight of Swords reversed. So in the Eight of Swords reversed, I do definitely see here that you feel as though sometimes you just have to go with your gut feeling, whereas your partner is maybe more on the logical side, or maybe more on the side of wanting evidence for everything, or wanting you to truly reason with them. So that is more detail for you to add to the struggles and challenges, but you already knowing this now will allow you to prepare for this future marriage and relationship. So in the Eight of Swords, be prepared to have to maybe explain why your gut feeling means so much to you, and to slowly but surely introduce them to a more spiritual way of living and being. Next up, we have the Three of Cups reversed. So in the Three of Cups reversed, I do see here that literally the best time of your life, emotionally speaking, is with this person. It is going to be in this marriage, because you no longer have to worry about, say, social anxiety or whether you fit in or not, because you're going to be hanging out with someone who gets you, with someone who understands what you're about, and you're not going to feel like the odd one out or like you're being judged. So this person really gives you like a place to feel comfortable in, and a place where you feel like you finally fit in and you're not someone who just stands out like a sore thumb. Let's move a little further into your reading, group number 1, shall we? Next up, we have Melchizedek. So in Melchizedek, I can see here that you both are going to learn from experience with one another. So you're going to grow together. And that's where this happiness comes from that we spoke about in the 10 of bottles, as well as you going through the ups and downs of the Wheel of Fortune. Now, some marriages may break when they go through really low lows, okay? Some marriages are not going to make it, but with you two, you learn together, you grow together, and you're all about studying one another as well as making progress on an internal basis in order to find solutions. So you both aren't people who externalize or kind of blame the outside world. You always look for solutions from within. So yes, on one hand, the person who you're going to marry can sometimes be overly confident or cocky, but once they hit a wall, or once they're at a low, they do turn inwards and ask themselves how they could have helped this situation in order to avoid hitting rock bottom. Next up, we have the Miriam. So in the Miriam, I can see here that you both are very forgiving, and that is something that is essential for any successful marriage. You see the glasses half full, you see the light in all of the situations, both the good and the difficult, and I can see here that you both feel as though love has no boundaries. So you may come from very different cultural backgrounds and dynamics. You know, maybe there is quite the age gap or the difference in spiritual beliefs from your two families or your two backgrounds, your two cultural backgrounds. So I do see here in the Miriam that instead of seeing that as a kind of limiting aspect of your relationship, you see this as an opportunity to learn and as an opportunity to educate yourself. So you're both very open-minded, and I do see here in the Miriam that you're all about love, winning and conquering all, rather than feeling like love should be something that constricts you or should have rules and boundaries that are based on conservative worldviews from different societies. Next up, we have Kalima. So in Kalima, group number 1, I can see here that your marriage is going to allow you to go through some major spiritual changes. And this is your chance to thrive. This is your chance to come to a source or a place of enlightenment with a partner. And this is your chance to grow with someone rather than grow on your own and have to leave that someone behind. So knowing this should be especially relieving to anyone who has had to leave friends or family members behind or in the past because you just outgrew those relationships. That is not going to happen within this marriage. They're going to grow with you hand in hand. I can see here in the Earth connection that they are mindful of the planet. The person who you're going to marry is someone who is all about being more eco-friendly. This is someone who is all about remaining grounded and remaining real. They don't just see the little town or the country that they live in as the only one that exists. They have a wide world view, and they're someone who definitely cares to do things for the planet and to leave the planet in a better shape even when they're gone versus when they were brought to this world. So one thing that I do see here in Gaia is this strong connection to Earth and this love for being out in nature and being around animals and other species, be it plants, animals, also other human beings. So they are more of the extroverted one in your relationship, and you are more of the introvert, group number 1. Now we are at the end of the first part of your reading to figure out exactly who you'll end up marrying. Make sure that you go down into the description box or the comment section, choose the timestamp where you can go to all of the choices for your second round. I have different crystals prepared for you further down in this video, so pick whichever one resonates with you, just like you picked your round 1, in order to receive further details about who you are going to marry. Group number 1, if this is the group that you chose, leave a little globe emoji down below in the comment section, and I'll see you over at your group 2. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Tea Leaf Fortune cards, group number 2. Let's get straight into your reading so we can figure out who you are going to end up marrying. I'm so excited to figure out what your part 1 looks like. Let's get straight into it. We have the Rooster first and foremost. So in the Rooster, one thing that I can see here is that the person who you're going to end up marrying is someone who definitely has a lot of self-confidence, okay? And some people may feel as though they are arrogant. That is one thing that I can see here in the Rooster. Next up, we have the Crib. So in the Crib, I can see that a birth or a child is part of the picture when it comes to your marriage. So one thing about your marriage is that you're definitely going to end up with a family. We will find out more information about this further within the reading. So next up, we have the Star. So one thing that I can see here in the Star is that one thing that makes this person seem kind of boastful or arrogant to some people is because they always set their sights higher and they always expect success. That is one thing that I see here in conjunction to the Rooster with the Star. And that is one thing that, you know, not everybody understands and not everyone is comfortable having around them, but that is one thing that I see that draws you to this person who you're going to end up marrying. The fact that they are confident and the fact that they see the glass as half full rather than half empty, and they expect the best possible outcome. They are always in a very positive place and they always feel like there is nothing that they cannot do. Next up, we have the Chain. So one thing that I can see here in the Chain is that you meeting them is going to kind of start with a little coincidence and then another and another, and it's going to be this chain of events that affects your life profoundly. So one thing that I do want you to know here in conjunction to decryb, that having children or starting a family with this person could be something that happens earlier on in the relationship than you ever expected, and that most likely also comes from a place of them being so confident in your relationship. They're almost cocky when it comes to their belief of how successful your marriage is going to be, and so they have no doubts to start a family with you whatsoever. Next up, we have the arrow. So in the arrow, I can see here that with this person, you're on the right path, okay? You are on the right path being with this person because they bring a bit more of a outgoing and kind of overly confident aspect to the relationship, whereas you maybe question yourself a lot more than necessary. So with them being seen as quote unquote arrogant by some, you actually have a lot that you can learn from this person. And in situations where you're maybe afraid or insecure, or you don't want to stand up to a bully, they will stand up for you, group number 2. And this is exactly the type of partner that you need, and it allows for a balanced relationship. Let's move further into your reading. Next up, we have justice. So I do see here that the person who you'll end up marrying is a very justice-loving person. They hate when there's any type of unfairness around them or in this world, and they're the type of person who will always call out injustice or unfair games, okay? Next up, we have the 5 of Knives. So in the 5 of Knives, I can definitely see that this has bitten them in the butt, okay, in the past, group number 2, if you know what I mean. This is definitely something that has hurt them in the past. So be it standing up for somebody at their work and therefore not being promoted or being fired, or telling a friend that they thought that something that they did really wasn't cool. This person who you're going to marry is not afraid to say so, and it has come back to hurt them, as you can see here with these knives kind of hurting them, kind of poking them, slicing them, cutting them. But nevertheless, they knew what the risk was, and they were willing to take the risk in order to allow for the truth to come out, in order to be able to say what it is that they saw and stand up in the face of injustice, okay? They are the type of person who is 100% going to give up a job or give up a connection with someone if they see that that person is doing wrong and they call them out. That is what is the most important to them, and they will never back down from telling their truth, no matter the cost. Next up, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So in the Wheel of Fortune, I do see here that makes the relationship, in a sense, a little bit tumultuous, because it's something that you maybe don't always understand. Because in some situations, you feel like it's best to just say nothing or to just remain silent, especially when your job is on the line and, you know, there's a family involved and so on. But to them, there is literally nothing higher than living their truth, no matter what the situation is. So I do see here in the Wheel of Fortune that may cause some sort of disagreements, and that make you feel as though they're sometimes a little bit selfish. Next up, we have the Chariot. So I do see here in the Chariot that at the end of the day, no matter what ups and downs that you go through in your marriage, you still are going towards the same goal. The Chariot is all about moving forward in the same direction, moving towards a successful marriage and a successful life with one another. So as every married couple has, you know, its own issues and its own points of friction, so will you, group number 2. But I do want you to know that the most important thing to note is in the Chariot that at the end of the day, you're both going towards a mutual goal, and you both have this mutual understanding of what you want out of your marriage and what you would like out of life. Next up, we have a Diana. Now, group number 2 in Diana, I do see here that you're both people who want to achieve greatness. You both both have set your sights very high for where you would like to go in life as well as with your marriage. So I do see here that you both expect the best possible outcome. Your partner is a bit more vocal about it and speaks it more into existence. So this is a type of confidence that you're learning from them. Furthermore, you both frequently brainstorm what you want with one another. So creating, for example, goal boards, manifestation boards, that is something that isn't out of the ordinary for you and your partner, because once you have made up your mind as to what you would like to accomplish, you both go after it, and they give you the confidence to stand by your dreams. Next up, we have Lady Nada. So in Lady Nada, I can see here that this is someone who accepts you no matter what you're going through. I can see here that giving and receiving in balance is something that happens for the very first time in this relationship. Group number 2, yes, you are going to end up marrying a very strong personality, a very strong character, but I do want you to know that they are ride or die for you. They will never let anything come between your connection, and they're the type of person who will stand up for you no matter who stands before them or no matter the risk. Next up, we have the Leo. The Leo reverse, to be exact, group number 2. So I do want you to know here in the Leo that strong fire sign energy is literally what we've been going through the entire reading. You know, them being very passionate, proud, sometimes dramatic, flamboyant in a way. They have a strong sense of self-belief, both in themselves as well as you and your marriage. So the Leo energy is definitely something that we've been receiving and feeling throughout your reading. So this is kind of like a confirmation of the type of fire sign energy that your future partner has a lot of. So they don't necessarily have to just be a Leo sun. They could be a Leo rising, or they could have Leo in their moon sign as well as their ascendant sign. Next up, we have Vesta. So in Vesta, I can see here that they are the type of person who is all about spirituality. Okay, so you guys definitely vibe when it comes to that, and you vibe when it comes to manifesting, understanding different laws of attraction and how you can use the energies that are within this universe to your advantage. So group number 2, this is part 1 of your reading that I received. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Leave a little lion emoji down below in the comment section to let me and others know that this is the group that you chose. Also, head down into the description box as well as the comment section to pick your part 2 in order to receive even more information, more personalized information about who you will end up marrying. So group number 2, I'll see you over in part 2 of your reading. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Divine Feather Messenger Oracle deck. Now you were drawn to this feather, and I want to figure out exactly whom this feather belongs to give us an idea of who you're going to end up marrying. So first and foremost, we have the hummingbird. Now let me zoom in for you, group number 3. There we go. So one thing that I can see here in the hummingbird is that you are going to end up marrying somebody who is very quick, who is witty, who is fun and joyful. Okay, they are always in a lighthearted mood, always ready to crack some jokes with you. They're just overall a very positive soul. So if you're somebody who struggles with anxiety or who struggles to let go of things, this partner who you're going to end up marrying with this hummingbird energy is the perfect match for you. Next up, we have the 10 of cigarettes. So one thing that I do see here in the 10 of cigarettes is that there's someone who pushes you out of your comfort zone. Okay, the person who you'll end up marrying is someone who is going to show you new things, someone who you're most likely going to end up traveling the world with as the years go by, and just overall you're going to find that they continuously push you to your limit in a gentle yet fun way. Next, we have the 3 of bottles. So this just goes so well with the gentle and fun way of them pushing you to your limit, because the 3 of bottles is all about fun. I like to call the 3 of bottles the party card. It is the same as the 3 of cups, and it's all about having fun, letting loose, and not taking life so seriously. So that is a common theme already within your future marriage. Next up, we have the 5 of pills. So in the 5 of pills is where I see that you are the one who has to be more stern, group number 3. You're the one who has to take control when it comes to finances, when it comes to to financial planning. So in the Five of Pills, I can definitely see here that you're the one who kind of like just has to go like, stop, okay, we're not spending anymore. This is where we need to be serious, and this is where we need to be careful. So you're the one who is in charge of planning your financial future as well as your material resources. I can see here in the Eight of Cigarettes that is definitely a situation that leaves them rolling their eyes sometimes, because again, they are very fun. They are more of a comic. They are the type of person who never takes anything too seriously, but this can sometimes also get on your nerves, and sometimes they feel as though you're too serious. So that is the point in your marriage where it's kind of like your worlds collide and you have differing opinions. Next up, we have the Empress. So in the Empress, I can see that the person who you're going to end up marrying is someone who sees you kind of like as the perfect person to be with forever. They understand that even though they sometimes just have eye rolls left for your financial planning, they need you, okay? They're the type of person who, yes, will tell you that maybe you're a little too uptight sometimes, or maybe you're a little bit too strict with certain things, but at the end of the day, they love that they can feel taken care of with you, and they love that you're the type of person who gives them what they need emotionally, also physically, and on a romantic level. So in the Empress, I do definitely see that they're so attracted to all of the things that they sometimes say annoys them in you. Next up, we have Faith. So one thing that I can see here in Faith is that they are the type of person who stays calm no matter how tricky the situation may be, and they always believe that everyone around them is going to make the right choice. Now, this is something that you may not be able to do as much as they are. You may have a lot more trust issues, group number 3, and may not want to trust in other people to the extent that your partner is going to trust in other people. But I do see here in Faith that that is something that will allow you to see humanity from a different perspective, because you can finally see that there are people out there who are good, and there are people out there who are still a light in this world. Next up, we have Sanat Kumara. So in Sanat Kumara, I do see here that the person who you're going to end up marrying is someone who has this almost like internal guidance, and they seem to be able to get through any situation unscathed, okay, without coming out of it hurt or in a difficult financial situation. It seems as though they are just always able to avoid misery and avoid any type of big downfall, and they almost like just skate through life effortlessly. And this is something that is really great when you're married to this person, and while you're dating, this is something that's going to fascinate you, group number 3. How kind of like effortlessly your future partner goes through life and everything somehow miraculously works out. But it probably comes from their very carefree type of personality, which in turn attracts scenarios that are a lot easier on life. Next up, we have Mother Mary. Now, group number 3, in Mother Mary, I can definitely see here that you need to learn to let go of the need to be right and to choose peace. You both can be kind of really stubborn, okay? Mother healing is also something that you both need to do if you have both had difficult relationships with your mothers, or just overall if mothers are butting into your marriage and your relationship. This is where you have to cut ties, and this is where you have to let your ego kind of go and let go of the need to be right about a situation. So not pointing out flaws about one another's families, and not just wanting to be able to say, I told you so. These are things that are really important for you to let go of within your marriage, because it only causes friction. Then we have Charity. So group number 3, in Charity, I do see here that you're the types of people who are spiritually pretty connected, and that is where you find a lot of common ground, and that is where you spend quality time with one another. So you have different rituals and things that you do, be it manifesting, be it praying, and you connect on that kind of spiritual level. Next up, we have Pluto. So in Pluto, group number 3, I can see here that the person who you'll end up marrying is someone who has very high transformative powers. They're the type of person who is able to take big leaps into unknown territories. Again, very carefree, very fun of them, as we've been talking about throughout the reading, and they somehow just are able to adapt to any given situation. So their carefree nature is what helps them be able to do this without any sort of difficulty or without worrying too much about what's on the other side of taking the leap. And overall, they're just this being that seems very mysterious, as they are comfortable to take on lots of different challenges and take on lots of different types of versions of themselves. Next up, we have Scorpio. Now, group number 3 in Scorpio, one thing that I can see here is this strong water sign energy. Now, Scorpio energy is very strong and intense. They're very thoughtful as well as magnetically charming, okay? And when it comes to being carefree, that extends to everything in their life except your relationship, okay? That's where they draw a line. They don't play when it comes to loyalty. They don't play when it comes to feelings within the relationship, and they're the type of person who is definitely not a cheater unless if they are cheated on. Then it's a completely different ballgame. But aside from that unfortunate scenario, this person is as loyal as they come. Now, group number 3, this is part 1 of your reading that I received. Make sure that you leave a little bird emoji down below in the comment section to let me and others know that this is the part 1 that you ended up choosing. Now scroll down into the description box to pick part 2 of your reading to figure out even more details of who you're going to end up marrying. Because you guys know, every single time you come to my channel, I am here to hook you up. No saving time. I want each and every one of you to feel like you have received a personal reading and the divine guidance that you were looking for. So group number 3, I'll catch you over in part 2 of your reading. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. I'm so excited to figure out exactly who you're going to end up marrying. So let's move straight into your reading, shall we, group number 4? First and foremost, we have the Dog Spirit. Now, group number 4, if you're a dog person, you're gonna love this. But even if you're a cat person, this is an awesome sign for who you're going to end up marrying. The Dog Spirit is someone who is loyal, okay? They would take a bullet for you. They would do anything for you. And it doesn't matter what you're going through in the relationship. They're always excited to see you. They're always excited to be around you, to be in your aura. And they're just the type of person that will be with you most likely to the end of your days or their days. Next up, we have the Ant Spirit. So in the Ant Spirit, I can see that you'll end up marrying someone who you can most likely also work with or start a business with. The Ant Spirit is all about collaborating. Just think of ants and how they work with one another. They can work with thousands and thousands of other ants to just reach one common goal. They aren't selfish whatsoever, and they're dedicated to the cause. That is one thing that I see here in the Dog Spirit, as well as the Ant Spirit, group number 4. Let's move a little further into your reading. Next up, we have the Horse Spirit. So in the Horse Spirit, I do see here that they are still an independent person. So they are not the type of person who constantly follows you like a lost puppy. Yes, they are fiercely loyal and they would take a bullet for you, but at the same time in the Horse Spirit, I can definitely see here that they love their freedom, they love their independence, and they also have their own hobbies and things that they like to do by themselves. Next up, we have the Otter Spirit. You will never feel alone though. So they do their own things in their own time after you guys have discussed that now you're spending alone time, both individually. So they aren't just going to go off and kind of leave you wondering where they are. Meanwhile, they're doing their own thing. They're at the tennis court or drawing for the entire day and you've been looking for them. They're not that type of person. They're going to discuss with you and check in with you first whether you're okay with being alone and whether it works with your schedule. Again, they're this person who is fiercely loyal and who is first and foremost there to make sure that you're okay and you're happy. And then they fulfill their needs. So your needs in the marriage come first, but nevertheless, when you give them the green light, they're then going to go on and do the things that they love. Next up, we have the Hanged Man. So in the Hanged Man, I can see here that the person who you will end up marrying, group number 4, is someone who sometimes gets a little comfortable in their ways. So they like to be taken care of. They like to be in a place where, yes, they're independent, but at the same time, when you're with one another, they like for you to take care of them emotionally as well as romantically. So they can sometimes kind of be stuck in their ways. They can find it difficult to try something new or branch out, and they kind of first watch and wait and see what you're doing before they move in shortly after and join in. I can see here in the Hermit that they are an introvert, group number 4. The person who you'll end up marrying is not someone who has a large group of friends. This is not somebody who likes to go out and party. This is the type of person who is highly introverted, maybe even a little bit shy, well, very shy, because it does take a lot out of them to chat you up and to get to a point where they make it clear that they want to be in a romantic relationship with you. But nevertheless, for the right person, they will get out of their comfort zone. But once they have found that forever person, once they're in that marriage, like, they are comfortable, okay? They're kicking their feet up and they're not looking left and right or at anybody else in a romantic way. They're 100% focused on their marriage. Next up, we have the 4 of Diamonds. So in the 4 of Diamonds, I do see here that they love to try new things when it comes to their hobbies. As we spoke about earlier, they are the type of person who likes to have their alone and independent time as long as you have discussed it beforehand. When it comes to switching things up within the marriage, they like for you to call the shots on that. But when it comes to their own passions and their own hobbies that they do in their free time, they're the type of person who isn't afraid to try new things, who isn't afraid to experiment and to grow in that sense. Next up, we have the 8 of Cups. So they definitely have a little bit of an abandonment issue. They're always afraid that you may leave them. So they're the type of person who does need affection, who does need you to show them that you care, because they are always kind of like a little bit second guessing why you're with them. They won't show it, okay? On the outside, they're very strong. They're very fierce, just as the ant spirit as well as the dog spirit suggests. But on the inside, they kind of do hope that you're going to continuously show them that you love them and that you're continuously going to reaffirm to them that you're in this relationship because you want to be in this relationship. Next up, we have the 6 of Diamonds. So I do see here in the 6 of Diamonds that the person who you'll end up marrying is someone who loves to take care of their loved ones in the material sense. So they love to be the head of money making. They love to be the person who supplies their family as well as their loved ones with anything that they need, be it gifts, be it security in the earthly realms, be it just making sure that everybody is well fed. I do see in the 6 of Diamonds that they are the giver, and that is where maybe you have to put your foot down and sometimes draw a line within the marriage because your person really does not know when to stop giving. Then we have the 9 of Swords reversed. So in the 9 of Swords reversed, I can see here that the person who you're going to end up marrying is someone who suffers from nightmares, who maybe has a little bit of insomnia, and it is hard for them to get to sleep at night. So this makes them a night owl. This makes them someone just like we have here in the Hermit, who finds peace at night, who finds that the world is at a very calm and relaxed place that makes them feel more at home and that makes them feel more comfortable than running around during the day and being in crowded places. Next up, we have Pluto. So I do see here in Pluto that the person who you'll end up marrying is someone who has the ability to transform if really needed. Okay, so when it really counts, they are able to change. They are able to try new things. They are able to get out of their comfort zone. Then last but not least, we have Cancer. So I can definitely definitely see here that the person who you'll end up marrying has this strong Cancerian energy. They don't necessarily have to be a Cancer sun. They can be a Cancer moon, rising, or ascendant. I do want you to know here that this is very emotional energy and this is very family loving energy. So hence why they're a bit of an introvert. They like to spend time at home with you, and they're the type of person who will be fiercely loyal and always put their marriage first. They're very nurturing and always concerned with how you're doing and how you're feeling. So group number 4, this is part 1 of your reading that I've received. Please leave a little crab emoji down below in the comment section to let me and others know that this is the part 1 that you ended up choosing for yourself. Now scroll back down into the description box or just keep watching, because right after your reading group number 4, I will be lining up the crystals that you can choose from for part 2. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome to round 2 of your readings in order to figure out more juicy details about who you'll end up marrying. So these are the 4 crystals that you can choose from in order to unlock round 2. So group A corresponds to the Labradorite, group B corresponds to the orange calcite, group C corresponds to the rose quartz point, and group D corresponds to the red jasper. The timestamps to all 4 crystals, which each represent a group, can also be found down below in the description box, as well as pinned to the comment section. So once you've selected one of these lovely crystals, click the timestamp in order to receive the second part of your reading. So I'll just give you a little bit of privacy to meditate on the 4 groups again, and I'll catch you during round 2 of your reading. Hello Group A, and welcome to part 2 of your reading. So you chose the Labradorite. Let me do a quick close-up of your stone for you so you can get acquainted with its energy. So let's move into it in order to figure out more details about who you will end up marrying. So let's see what else the universe has to say about your situation. First and foremost, we have the Bobcat Spirit. So in the Bobcat Spirit, I see that the person who you'll end up marrying is someone who is mysterious and someone who most likely does not gel with a lot of people. So they don't give a lot of people information about themselves. They're the type of person who likes to keep to themselves, and overall they just feel as though they don't want to share too much personal information, especially if they're not sure about whether the person is going to be in their life for a long time or not. So they're mysterious and they like to keep their private life private. Now that doesn't mean that they're not good in social settings. They just keep their own personal business to themselves at all times. Next up, we have the Lizard Spirit. So in the Lizard Spirit, I can see here that the person who you will end up marrying has big dreams, and that's most likely also why they keep a lot of things to themselves. They in the past have opened up about their dreams and aspirations, and friends and family, just people who they thought they could trust, may have crushed those dreams or may have ridiculed them for it. So ever since then, they have chosen to remain silent, Group A, because they don't want to allow for opportunity for someone to do that to them ever again. So next up, we have the Coyote Spirit. In the Coyote Spirit, I do see here that the person who you'll end up marrying is someone who believes in divine detours, and they're the type of person who doesn't feel like the way to success is always from A to B. They understand that success is not necessarily linear, it can be exponential, and there can be a lot of detours within the path to becoming successful and getting to where you want to go in life. So they're not afraid to put in the work whenever necessary. So we have another card that popped right out of the pile, which is the Crown. So Group A, in the Crown, I do see here that there's somebody who is honored and well respected within society. This is someone who is in a space where they're on a high level when it comes to society standards, and people look up to them. Again, another reason why they're mysterious, why they keep their private life private, because a lot of people put the person who you'll end up marrying on a pedestal. They, of course, do not want to ruin that public image or to put anything out there that someone might run with and create a rumor with. So they are very careful with what they share for good reason. Next up, we have the Dragon. So in the Dragon, I can definitely see here that sometimes they can be overly conscious or overly self-conscious about how they appear and just overall how people perceive them. So this this is something that was ingrained in them most likely during this time where they felt as though a lot of people were making fun of their dreams or ridiculing how open that they were and how much shit they shared, which made them recline their personal life. So they will open up to people who are very close to them, but it takes time and it takes a lot of trust. Next up, we have the hills. So I can see here in the hills that the person who you're going to end up marrying is someone who you will have to overcome a lot of obstacles with. So you're going to have to stay persistent in showing them that you are trustworthy. And sometimes you will feel as though you're making a lot of progress, and then other times you may feel like they're very shut off. And this may also have to do with the crown and the fact that they're so looked up to, and that there's a lot of responsibility that rests on their shoulder, especially at their work. So sometimes they'll be really tired and they'll feel as though their entire world is a little too much and overwhelming, and they may be more silent than you're used to. And that may make you feel like you're taking steps back, Group A, but remind yourself that this person is not someone who likes to overshare. So if they're having a quiet moment, don't see it as a red flag or as them pulling away. It's simply them being emotionally exhausted. Then last but not least, in the flowers, I do see here, Group A, that at the end, happiness is what is coming towards you with this person. This is the perfect person for you. Every single person has their pros as well as their cons, but I do want you to know, Group A, that this type of person is someone who gels with you really well, who goes with your type of personality, and who can keep your private life with one another private to the extent that you never feel exposed or like they would overshare your business. And privacy is something that I see is very important both for you as well as for them. So I do want you to know here that at the end of the day, in the flowers, you are happy with this person. You understand that they have their own fair share of things to work on, but this marriage makes you feel content and like you're in the right place emotionally as well as spiritually. So Group A, this is part 2 of your reading that I received. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Leave a crown emoji down below in the comment section to let me and others know that this was the part 2 that you chose. Also, if this was the first time that you've ever received one of these readings and you enjoyed it and you feel better now than when you came to this video, make sure that you subscribe to my channel to never miss another reading. So Group A, thank you so much for sharing this divine space with me, and I'll see you during another one of my videos. Hello Group B, and welcome to part 2 of your reading. You chose the orange calcite, Group B. Let me do a quick close-up so you can get acquainted with the energies of the crystal that you ended up choosing. I really hope that you're enjoying this interactive type of video, and it truly feels like a personal reading where you get to pick lots of different things and receive great divine information. So let's move into your reading in order to figure out exactly who you will end up marrying, Group B. Let's get into it. First and foremost, we have the Fox. So in the Fox Group B, I can see that you're going to end up marrying someone who is very resourceful, especially when it comes to business. So they're definitely business savvy, they are street smart. That doesn't mean that they don't have a good education, but they are not just book smart. They don't just rely on what was taught in school, which makes them someone who is most likely a very successful business person or entrepreneur. Next up, we have the Fire. So I can see here that they're someone who has very strong emotions. They are very passionate when it comes to love, but also when it comes to hate, okay? So I do want you to know here that being married to this person means that you're in a very passionate relationship. You're in a relationship where, romantically speaking, like, it doesn't get any better, but at the same time, if you have any types of arguments, they're definitely fiery. They're definitely the type of person who will let you know exactly how they feel. So if you're just like that, or this is something that you are able to take, Group B, then of course this is a great match for you, because you need someone to tell you exactly how it is without them sugarcoating. So I do want you to know here, in conjunction to the Fox, however, that they're not somebody who is confrontational. by any means group B, okay? They are someone who tries to avoid confrontation, but if there is no other way, if someone is really pushing them, then they will kind of explode and get really fiery. Next up, we have the boat. So in the boat, I can see here that they have a lot of money or property that they are receiving through inheritance, winning, or some sort of windfall. So do know here that the person who you will end up marrying is most likely someone who is quite wealthy. And rather than just kind of relying on, well, you know, I'm going to inherit a lot of money, or, well, I somehow was quite successful in business, now I'm just going to like lean back and relax. No, no, no. Okay, group B, that is not them. They're constantly looking to find ways to preserve their wealth, to preserve what it is that they have, and they're constantly remaining resourceful. You are not going to be marrying the type of person who wears very flashy clothes or watches or jewelry. They're the type of person where even if they have like multiple millions, even if they end up having billions, they're the type of person who will always stay low key and who will always keep things very grounded, okay? Keep things very resourceful. Rather than buying themselves a very expensive car or accessory, they would rather invest that money in something that can make them more money in the long run, rather than investing it in something that will just depreciate in value over time. Next up, we have the fair man. Now, group B, I can see here in the fair man that this person is someone with blonde, gray, or white hair. So that doesn't have to mean that the fair man is necessarily just a white person, ethnically speaking. This fair man can be anyone who has lighter colored hair. And lighter colored hair is definitely something that you find in lots of different groups of people and lots of different types of ethnic backgrounds, but also if they're the type of person who is a little older, who is maybe in their 40s or so, they may be showing some sort of gray or white hair at that point in time. Next up, we have the cup. So group B, one thing that I can see here in the cup is that they're the type of person who accepts criticism. They are not the type of person who feels like they know it all, and even if they know something, they would rather remain silent and listen to what others have to say and then kind of draw their conclusion rather than be loud and talking over everyone. I can see here in the gong that they are all about parties, okay, group B, but not parties in a sense of going out and having fun with their friends. They are all about celebrating successes in the earthly realm. So no, they are not a partier in the traditional sense. They like to celebrate when they have accomplished new things in their business, when they have reached new heights with thinking in a smart way and creating more streams of revenue rather than wasting money. I can see here in the lion spirit that they're very secure in who they are. They're not the type of person who has any sort of insecure energy, and they're very generous. So you may be worried that this person could be stingy, group B, but they're not. Just because they don't like to spend obscene amounts of money on themselves doesn't mean that they're stingy with other people or with you. Then I can see here in the crow spirit that they definitely believe in the type of energy that you put out being the type of energy that you receive, and they love to co-create that way. They love to co-create with spirit. So rather than only working hard, they definitely feel like putting out good intentions and intentions of generosity is what gets them the most success and what allows them to really thrive in life and really be in a position of power. So rather than just being a tyrant or being a boss, they like to co-create and work together with other people. Next, we have Kuan Yin. So in Kuan Yin, I do see here that they always choose to come from a place of love and care. So even though they are a strong business person and they do think on their feet, rather than just kind of saying, okay, someone messed up, so I'm going to fire them or I'm not going to work with them anymore, they like to give second chances and offer a helping hand. They like to do what is right for everybody who is involved. They're mature and they believe in karma. Next up, we have the white eagle. In the white eagle, we have that very authoritative energy that we were talking about earlier within the reading, and the fact that they most likely come from a very fortunate background. I do see here that they connect with their lineage. They're proud of their lineage, and their family pattern may have its ups and its downs, and it may have its own wounds and come with its own trauma, but at the end of the day, they're proud to represent, and they want to make sure that they continue their traditions and will bring that into the marriage with you. So group B, this is part 2 of your reading that I received. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Leave a little boat emoji down below in the comment section to let me and others know that this is the part 2 that you chose. Also, if you're ending this video feeling more relaxed, relieved, and just in a better place than when you started, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel, because we clearly vibe with one another, group B, and I would hate to see you miss out on any more readings that can provide you with healing energy as well as clarity. So group B, thank you for being here. Know that I'm sending you so much love, and I'll catch you in another one of my readings. Hello Group C, and welcome to part 2 of your reading. You chose the Rose Quartz Point. This is what your crystal looks like. Let's just get you acquainted with the vibration of the stone. This is a stone of love, compassion, as well as empathy and understanding. Let's move into your reading to figure out more juicy details about who you will end up marrying. So let's get into it. First and foremost, we have the Crow Spirit. So I do see here that the person who you'll end up marrying is someone who believes in karma and someone who loves to co-create with spirit. They're the type of person who doesn't leave anything up to chance. They will manifest, they will quote unquote pray on something and put their highest intention towards what it is that they're trying to accomplish. Next up, we have the Flamingo Spirit. Now, Group C in the Flamingo Spirit, I can see here that they're the type of person who embraces the entire journey, not just the goal or the destination. So Group C, your person is someone who doesn't mind being in an awkward in-between phase, be it in a relationship, at work, or when it comes to something that they're manifesting. They're okay with being in an in-between stage because they understand that the beginning as well as the goal, that is the tiniest portion of the journey, and they want to enjoy all of it. They are the type of person who believes that life is too short to second guess or to be in a bad mood for any amount of time, and they will embrace every situation, no matter how quote-unquote inconvenient it may seem or how much other people may curse the situation. They are going to stay optimistic and embrace it. Next up, we have the Nine of Diamonds. I see that this was born out of a place of necessity when the person who you are going to marry went through a difficult time in their life where they had no choice other than to just be optimistic and to believe that they're closer to the finish line than expected, to believe that success is right around the corner, because when you're in a difficult place, hope is often the only thing that's left, and hope is something that can give you the courage as well as the strength to push through and see things through right to the end. I do see here in the Nine of Crystals that it comes from a place of feeling wounded but knowing like they need to keep going, that there's nothing else that they can do other than pick themselves back up and stay strong. So Group C, the person who you will end up marrying is someone who is very strong, very decisive, and knows exactly what they're capable of and is unafraid to keep things going. Next up, we have the Casket. Now, Group C, let's zoom in. What I can see here in the Casket, Group C, for your person is that right now someone is going out of their life and there's an end nearing of a situation that used to be kind of all-encompassing. So the person who you will end up marrying is going through a time of loss as well as grief, and that's most likely where they have found the strength to embrace the in-between and to not simply wait for a reason to celebrate, but for life to be the reason to be excited and celebrate and embrace every single moment. Next up, we have the Jug. So I do see here in the Jug that they like to keep things lighthearted. They like to stay as carefree as they possibly can, because again, they're this type of person who feels like life is way too short to fill your days up with worry or fill your days up with any type of regret, and they're the type of person who feels like they want to try everything in life at least once before they judge and before they make up their mind. Next up, we have the Bear. So I do see here in the Bear that the person who you are going to marry is someone who often threads threads between financial success and financial loss, okay? They are often in a danger zone. They're often in a place where they take big risks. So they may be someone who likes to gamble or overall invest quite a bit of their money in stocks. And I can see here that they're the type of person who, in a way, is always taken care of in difficult times. They're the type of person who somehow always finds a way to prevail and always finds a way to get themselves out of any mess that they may have gotten into due to them being a risk taker and due to them being someone who isn't afraid to try something new and who isn't afraid to risk money. Next up, we have the dog close up. So in the dog close up, I can see here that this person is like a best friend to you. The person who you're going to end up marrying is someone who is definitely a soulmate. They're definitely someone who you can have fun with, but also be in a romantic setting with. Last but not least, in the lily, I do see that this is a deep, very spiritual connection and spiritual love that you share with the person who you're going to marry, which is a connection that goes beyond physicalities. It goes beyond looks. It's very real. It has a lot of depth, and it's definitely something that a lot of people envy your marriage for, or will envy your marriage for, Group C. So Group C, this is the part 2 to your reading that I received, and I really hope that you enjoyed it and that you love this type of interactive reading. If you feel better now than at the start of this video, mission accomplished. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel because we clearly vibe with one another if you're still here. Also, make sure that you leave a little dog emoji down below in the comment section to let me and others know that this is the part 2 that you chose, Group C. Know that I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you in another one of my videos. Hello Group D, and welcome to part 2 of your reading. So you chose the red jasper. Let me get you acquainted with the crystal that you chose. So this is what the red jasper looks like. It's very intense. It is filled with the vibration of passion, and it's just overall a great choice, Group D. So let's move into your reading in order to figure out more juicy details about who you will end up marrying. Let's see what the cards have to say. First and foremost, we have the moth spirit. Let me zoom in. There we go. So Group D, in the moth spirit, I can see here that the person who you'll end up marrying is fully surrendered and devoted to the marriage. Okay, they're the type of person who isn't concerned with what others may think or say or do. They're just fully surrendered to the love that lies between you. I can see here in the sandpiper spirit that the person who you'll end up marrying is a very playful, fun person. They're very jovial. They're not the type of person who is serious at all, which can at times be really great when you need a little bit of a lighter mood and when you need encouragement and motivation. But sometimes I do definitely see that this is something that could get on your nerves and where you just wish like they would be a little bit more serious in certain situations. But each marriage has its pluses and its minuses, so don't worry too much about that. Next up, we have the fox spirit. So this person is very quick and witty. They're intelligent. They're smart. This is the type of person who has like street smartness, and at the same time they're also book smart. Street smartness, is that even a word? But you know what I mean. They have both sides of the coin, and they're not the type of person who reads something in a textbook and then just kind of takes it as a fact. They also always want to do their own research as well. Next up, we have the hummingbird spirit. They love to live in the moment, Group D. Okay, the person who you're going to end up marrying is someone who isn't about planning too far ahead. They want to know what's happening today, tomorrow, next week. Anything beyond that they feel is not really worth too much time, energy, or stress. They're the type of person who loves instant gratification and immediate results, and sometimes that leads them to doing chores and doing things very quickly, but also it can be a little bit of a point of friction if you're someone who likes to plan far in advance. Next up, we have the older man. So Group D, I can definitely see here that this is a relationship with an older person who has very masculine energy. Now, I don't want to put labels on it and say it has to be an older man or an old man, thinking, you know, old as in really old group D, I just want you to know that this is an older person with masculine energy. We're not going to put labels on it or anything like that. Group D, I just want you to know that masculine energy means that they are more forceful, means that they are more active rather than receptive, and older means older than you, wiser than you. So do know here that this is a great indication for you to look out for when searching for a soulmate or just being in the dating game. Next up, we have the Dagger. So I do see here in the Dagger that they're the type of person who really does not like any type of tense situations. They do not like to worry. They do not like to allow themselves to even think about their fears. They're the type of person who would rather get proactive if something is bothering them and try to change it, or then just kind of put it to the side. I do see here in the Pale that they're the type of person who needs to get out of a situation right now that is holding them back. So maybe right now they're in a relationship with another person, and it is not the soulmate relationship that they're looking for. The relationship that is the most suited for them is the connection with you, Group D, but right now they're still in a relationship that is holding them back and where they're maybe not being appreciated for who they truly are. But I do see here that the opportunity to meet this person is coming soon. That's one thing that I see here in the Carrot, Group D. So if you have been looking for your soulmate, if you have been looking for that forever romance, do know here that an opportunity is coming sooner rather than later to meet them and connect with this person, Group D. So this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you loved this interactive type of video where you had a part 1 and a part 2. Let me know down below in the comment section what hit home. Also leave a carrot emoji in the comment section to let me and others know that this is the second part that you chose in addition to the first part of your reading. And if you made it all the way to this point, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. We clearly vibe with one another, and I'd love to connect with you again in the future. So Group D, thank you so much for sharing this divine time and space with me. Know that I'm thinking of you and sending you so much love, and I'll catch you in another one of my readings.